This is Dave with NAPCO Tech Support. In this video, I will explain lockdown control, lockdown areas, and threat levels in MVP access. Feel free to pause the video at any time if it makes it easier to follow along. The lockdown control in MVP access allows you two separate functions. The first function is to remove doors from passage mode, and the second function is to restrict the access of pin holders and badge holders. Creating lockdown areas allows you to remove locks from passage mode, and threat levels allows you to restrict access to badge holders and pin holders. Before we get started, it is important to note that there is an order that must be followed here. Your lockdown control will be empty until you have locks assigned to a lockdown area, and your threat level will remain empty until you assign an active category to a badge or pin holder. And in order to do that, you would have to first assign a lock to a lockdown area and assign that lockdown area to a threat level. I've created this mock-up floor plan that we can design our lockdown around. We have one front door, one back door, one hall door, and one office door. We will create different lockdown areas and different threat levels for each of our areas. We will create one lockdown area that will lock both the front and the back door, one to lock the hall door, one to lock the office door, and finally, one that will lock all the doors. Since lockdown areas are the first thing we have to create, let's start with that. To add a new lockdown area, click on Access, then click on Lockdown Areas. Then click the Add button up top. A new screen will come up that will allow you to select the locks you want in that lockdown area. I'm going to choose the first and fourth locks to represent the front door on my floor plan and the back door. When I activate this lockdown area, it will take these two doors out of passage mode. I will name it Front and Back Doors and save. You can see when I click on Lockdown Control, I have my front and back doors listed here. And if I click on Activate, it will remove those locks from passage mode. When you activate it, you will get a screen that will show you the process is executing, and eventually the status will change to Success. If I go back to Lockdown Control, I now have the option to deactivate the lockdown and put the doors back to their normal state, regulated by their schedule if there is one. Before I finish making the rest of the lockdown areas, you may have noticed that I already have a lockdown area all created. This is because I added these locks using MVP EZ. When you add locks via MVP EZ, the EZ app will automatically create a lockdown area for you and add all your locks to that area. For more information on emergency lockdown in MVP EZ, check out our video on setting up emergency lockdown with MVP EZ in our MVP EZ playlist. Now I will quickly make the lockdown areas for the other doors. Now that I have made all my lockdown areas, if we go back to lockdown control, you will see that all my areas are now there. As a reminder, you can always click on the question mark in the lower right corner for more information about this page. Now we need to make some threat levels. To create threat levels, you first click on Administration and then click on Threat Level Management. By default, there are 5 threat levels already created. We are going to modify them to work for our purpose. You can edit a threat level by double-clicking on it, or by single-clicking to select it and then clicking Edit. Here we can modify the description, assign a lockdown area, and assign a category. You can also rename the categories as well. I'm going to make this threat level associated with the front and back doors, so I will change its name and assign that lockdown area to it. I'm also going to change the category name to match it. This way I know what category is assigned to which lockdown area. If you have multiple areas you are creating, it's best to change these names here so you don't have to keep bouncing back and forth to remember what they are all assigned to. Don't forget to choose whether you wish to allow access or deny access when the threat level is activated. After you are finished, click Save and it will take you back to the threat level management list. I'm going to quickly create the other threat levels. You can see here as I go, I am modifying the category names. You can create a variety of combinations between lockdown levels, threat levels, and categories to restrict movement throughout the building. I'm just keeping it simple for this demonstration. Now that I have threat levels created, we must assign personnel to the different categories so they can be restricted when the threat levels are activated. As always, if you need more information on the options on this page, you can always click on the question mark in the lower right-hand corner. Now we need to set the personnel categories. To get the personnel, click on Access, then click on Personnel. When you are at your personnel list, select the personnel you wish to modify on the left. Next, on the right side, click on the Control tab. Here you will see the custom names we created for the categories. This is where we can select what doors the card holder will not be able to access when the threat level is triggered. I can choose that it is only restricted when I activate all doors, or I can cherry pick which threat levels restrict this card holder. In this case, I've chosen to only restrict this card holder when the office door threat level is triggered and when the all doors threat level is triggered. Now, if we go over to the lockdown control, you will see all the lockdown areas, and underneath them is the threat levels. It is important to note that if you trigger a lockdown event, it will take the doors out of passage mode, and it will not restrict the badge holders and pin holders. But if you trigger the threat level, it will both remove passage mode and restrict badge holders and pin holders. This is just a demonstration on how to do this on a small building, but you can use these same methods to restrict access across multiple floors or multiple buildings. So with just a little imagination, you can see the combinations you can create with this. As always, if you're looking for more documentation on any current NAPCO devices, or if you're looking for more videos like this, head on over to our tech library at tech.napcosecurity.com.